Hey gang, thanks for joining me for the September 2025 review. It was not a great month, but let's just dive right into it. So between the book and Etsy, I only made about $3, but Etsy really tanked me. The book actually did better than most months. My profits are up about 30% there, but let's check out Etsy and see why that just sunk me for the month. All right. And we can see, this is why I say the Etsy stats are deceiving. We see thousands of those thumbnails on YouTube where people say, yeah, my shop did $10,000 in sales last month. Or, how I turned my shop into a six-figure shop. But, that's all revenue. Okay? So, look, I had, not bad, 8 orders, right? 2% conversion rate. $230 in revenue. That's not too shabby. But here, right, I had, $270 in sales. There's $40 in fees right off the bat. All right, so that gives me that number we had on the last screen, the 232. And then out of that 232, I spent essentially $100 on Etsy ads, which leaves me with $130 left over. And digging into these numbers just a little bit more, the fees here, about a third of them are just listing fees. So that's listing 60 items. So about half the items on my shop, I had to pay 20 cents per listing to relist. Not much you can do about that. But look, Etsy takes 6.5% of the order total right off the top for them. That's about half of these fees. And then they also take another 3% plus 25 cents per order. That's almost $30 in fees right there to sell 8 items. And then if we go down to marketing, we can just see it's Etsy ads, almost $100. So we can kind of dig into this a little bit. This return on ads spent, I didn't think was that bad. I got 5 orders from ads, right? So this is every dollar I spend on advertising. How much do I get back in sales? So I get $1.37 back for every dollar I spend in ads. And we'll go down here. I want to see, what am I spending all this money on? Here we go. Let's just do last 30 days. So here, I spent $20 on this to get 2 orders. And these are $6 each. So I think I'm just going to have to turn ads off on that one. That's not worth it, right? It's less than 1 anyway. We'll just kind of keep going. Get rid of that. I'll go through the rest of these, I guess. But you can see, there's $20 in ads right there I'm going to save. And then here's that final breakdown. So after my Etsy fees, I had $232 in revenue. Only about $130 of that was actually deposited into my business checking account. It cost me $166 to make the t-shirts and have them shipped, which gave me a loss of $37.77. But, that's why I'm doing this, so you guys can see what actually happens behind the scenes on Etsy. There's so many thumbnails and video titles out there about, how people are making so much money on Etsy. But, again, that's revenue. That's off the top. And even if they aren't spending all this money on ads, which I think is unlikely, the profit margin on clothing, at least, is 5%. So unless you're making the item yourself, I don't really think Etsy is going to be super profitable. Imagine if I had 10 times the items on my store and I had 10 times the sales. Theoretically, I would have had 10 times the monthly loss, right? But enough about my losses. Let's talk about some positives. The book actually did a lot better than it did last month. Up from about $1 a day to about $1.33 a day. That's just kind of rough math. So about a 30% increase, which I'm excited about. And I think it's part of this positive feedback loop where as you get more sales, you get more reviews, which then lead to more customers willing to buy your book, which then gives you a better page ranking, which then gives more sales, and so on and so on. So, here's my current rankings and reviews. I got 4.6 review, I guess, out of 9 total reviews. I'm not super high in any of these categories, but I think, if I can kind of slowly start creeping up, it's going to help. And I'm actually going to start doing some marketing for the book this month. What I would like to see, though, is where I rank when people type in, at least for this book, when they type into Amazon, The Count of Monte Cristo, or something like The Count of Monte Cristo modernized. I want to see where I rank in that. I'd really like to be on like the first page or 2 of those search results. I don't really know how to find that info without going to like the public library, not signing into my Amazon account, typing that into the Amazon search bar, and then just counting where I rank. But I don't really know if that's feasible. One of the things I am going to start is this free book deal. So if you're one of like the 10 people who's going to see this video over the next week, this is going to be starting, I think, October 2nd, maybe the 3rd, and it's going to run for, I think I can do 5 days. Yeah, 5 days. So I'm hoping to get people at least interested enough that, they can start reading it, and then hopefully get some, good reviews and sales rankings that way, and hopefully give me a little bump. But going back to this nice little pie chart, we can see in the bottom left, my top royalty sources are from the Kindle Unlimited universe anyway, which is where the book's going to be free. And I just found out, like, you don't get a set price per page read. I guess Amazon takes a portion of the Amazon Unlimited subscription fees that they collect and puts it aside for authors, and then they take your total number of pages read divided by that whole pool of pages read, and you get that certain percentage. So I'm really hoping if I can get that book out there in a free promotion and at least get people starting to read it. I don't know if people can read that many pages in 5 days. And I don't know if once they download it on Kindle during the promotion period, if they have access to it for the rest of time, or if it's only free for them for those 5 days, or if I don't get royalties after those 5 days if they downloaded it during that period. We'll have to find out, but I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. I want to start maybe making like TikTok videos about the book and make like a TikTok account trying to advertise it, and maybe get into trying to sell books on TikTok. And speaking of, I guess, branching out into different marketplaces, I did put my book onto Google Play Books, but I don't have any units sold, no earnings. I only put it up not even 2 weeks ago. But I don't really know how this works either. I got to look into this. I don't know if you can advertise to get a higher search ranking on here, or if I can lead people to Google Play. And it's ebook only. You can't sell paper books on Google Books. So that'll be interesting to see what happens over the next, 6 months here. And some other exciting book news, I guess, as I finish the modernization of the Odyssey. So I've got that scheduled to come out at the end of this month, end of October. I just got the cover commissioned yesterday, so I'm still waiting on that to come in. And then, it's like a week or 2 of going back and forth with Amazon, trying to, you have to prove to them that, my book is in the public domain. This is a derivative work. It's not just like a reformatting of the Odyssey. So I just remember that taking like a week or 2 with the first book I did. So I'm going to, that's kind of my expected date for it to come out. That'll be ebook, paperback, and hardcover. I only have one in there for now. So I'm excited about that. I enjoy doing this book thing more than I enjoy doing the Etsy shop, and it's clearly more profitable. So this channel might be pivoting into like a publishing channel, but who knows what the future holds, right? But that's really all I got for this month. It wasn't great, but we're still learning. We're having fun. So thanks for joining. If you liked the video, like they all say, please give a like. subscribe, share it with your friends, do all that good stuff. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.